All right, we're live. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Trent Talks here. I got my man Jacob Spellis with us today. Jacob, super happy to have you here, man. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you so much, Trent. I really appreciate the opportunity and the platform you're using to help inspire and change people's life. My voice is a little raspy. I'm not sick. I just lost it. I was in a seminar all weekend and screaming and yelling and
Fair
all
enough.
that good stuff.
And don't mind me. I know I look like a little kid right now. It's not chocolate milk. This is this is actually my protein shake from, I just got back from the gym.
That's all right.
And everybody, excuse me, people are going to be watching going, hey, look at this guy, a 40-year-old man, look at him sipping on that chocolate milk.
That's all right.
But, so yeah, man, so I want to get into, excuse me, 1 second here.
Yeah.
My throat's messing up.
That's all right.
Okay, there we go. So I want to get into talking a little bit about, like, you've got a really cool story.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that, like, you're big in, I've just come from following you from a distance. I don't know all the details, but I know you were into drugs and it landed you in prison, and now you've gone out. Now you're a successful entrepreneur. I know you're involved with the documentary.
Yep.
So this is going to be a fun story. It allows people who have come from kind of a lot of different ways, and maybe they have similar situations that they've either have in their past, or, you know, maybe somebody watching this is in a similar situation. It's like, oh, I'm screwed. You know, I'm never going to make it out of this. So I'm going to let you kind of here go into and tell us a bit of the backstory about, like, we don't want to glorify it, but we want to hear some of the tough part that you went through so people can just relate to where you're coming from.
Yeah. No, I like how you said, I think some people still identify with their old self, and it's a hard piece to let go. I'll get going in the future, but I for this interview in particular, I want to go into, like, my mindset as a kid till now. So I'll first start off.
Let's go there. What kind of kid were you?
I was a terrible. Well, I take it back. Up until about the time I went to school, I was a really shy kid, and had a terrible speech impediment. So I had a really hard time talking, which made me have no confidence.
Were you a stutterer, or, like, what was your?
So later I found out I had dyslexia and just pure speech impediment. I don't know where the speech came from. I stuttered more as an adult, but back then I just couldn't pronounce words, so I'm terrible at the words, names, nothing personal. If I say something, people are always, like, down to me on social media, like, you didn't use there in the right way. I'm like, who cares? Like that.
Hey, you get into those that, no, it's THEYRE or TH. You're like, I don't care, honestly. Did you get the point of what I'm saying? You understood what I'm saying? Then back off.
Nah, people just crazy, I never let that stuff type of bother me, because I always felt my mission was too big. So up until about 6, 7, 8 years old, I struggled with self-confidence. I struggled with just getting in trouble. I had a lot of personal stuff going on in my home, and I started getting suspended through school. And later I found out that I think the main reason I was getting suspended in school is because I didn't want to read in front of other people. When I got suspended, they put you in your own class, and you could cheat off other people and not really be fully engaged.
Sure.
So I started doing that from a young age. And then later, just being really, having no confidence in myself. But I never wanted to be bullied. So I did the opposite. I bullied a lot of people. I was terrible to other people. Started doing drugs around the age of 11, started smoking weed, starting to do little crime, like property damaging and just truancies and skipping school.
Well, like, how hard was it when you were doing this stuff? Like, what you hear from the teachers? Because I imagine you get a lot of teachers that they're just hammering you, and they're just like, oh, well, you got to stop this. You're not going to amount to nothing. Or they start talking, the negative talk that comes from people on the outside, not knowing what's internal.
Yeah, I think, I'll give you an example, like, I used to smoke cigarettes, and people identify with a cigarette smoker. They'll be like, hey, I haven't smoked in 2 months. But now it's like, if somebody asks, like, hey, you guys, like, no, I don't smoke. It's how you identify. So going back to a youth, I always identify as, like, a bad kid that just didn't fit in. So teachers would always, crazy thing is, like, teachers always thought I was cheating on reading assignments. They would think I'm not performing well, because I would get decent grades in math and stuff, and other things I would flunk. And it wasn't until about 6th, 7th grade when they're like, oh shoot, he's got dyslexia. So there wasn't a lot of things. So I think they have things called like an IEP and stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just got in so much trouble that stuff was really never addressed, you know? So that's why I fight really hard for, because kids don't really, kids don't really say what they're going through. They just say like
No.
they're hungry or their stomach hurts, but you don't know
Yeah.
they has an aid, or they're in a domestic violence type environment, or their parents are doing drugs. You never really know. So my whole life I struggled having enough confidence,
Totally.
in myself.
Well, so okay, so like going through that confidence spot. Now, I'm assuming from what you're saying, I know in your story, like you ended up dropping out of high school, right? Then when did you drop out?
I think my first time, if I'm not, it's been a little bit. I think I was expelled, if I'm not mistaken, my
Okay.
freshman year, and then they have to like gradually put you back in schools. I bounced back from different programs and initiatives they
Like
have.
they kick you out and then they put you in like it's the special school for the kids that have been kicked out and stuff like yeah, I'm with
Yeah,
you.
they have schools here called like Alternative Learning Center, and we always
Yeah.
joke it's like assholes last chance. Sorry.
No, you're good, man.
And so it's like that labeling goes more and more. Like I don't belong here. I don't belong in society. I was kicked out of sports, like in the whole district for some reason. They had some program if you had legal issues going on, and I had stuff switching from one school to another, and they brought up my legal pass, my probation stuff,
Oh, jeez.
and I was really trying to do good. I can honestly say,
But
like,
it like adds on. It's just an accumulative effect. It's like you get a little bit of dirt you're trying to dig out of the hole, and someone just brings a dump truck and throws a bunch more on you.
yeah, and in the juvenile court system, you don't really know that like crimes that juveniles commit, they get punished like it was adults, like skipping school. Like if you're in college and you skip class, nothing happens. If you come home late, nothing happens.
Yeah.
Uh, as a juvenile, if you skip school, you can do like 90 days in jail. If you smoke
What?
a cigarette, yeah, you can do some time. Ohio
Wow.
is doing really, really better now, but there's been cases where like you get a little weed case or a marijuana case, and you skip school and they go do 2 years in a
And
maximum.
it's like you take a kid that makes a bad decision or he's in some bad decisions and you just say, all right, you know what, you made a bad decision or you're having a hard time. The rest of your life is screwed up. You're done.
Yeah, the bulk of the youth prison system are what they call status offenses. Crimes that wouldn't be crimes if they were 18 years of age. So, it's
Wow.
it's real big. Like you see, and I'm not justifying any violent stuff.
No, I know you're not saying
Crazy
it's okay,
people.
but like you don't want to steal kids' future
Yeah,
because they make bad decisions. I agree with that. Yeah.
yeah, and it just kept going. So I dropped out, I think, my sophomore year.
Okay.
And I was just running the streets, and God bless my mom. She was very supportive, and she had to let me go. I did a couple times in juvenile court, in and out of in jail, and I came home, and she found like some drugs in her house, and she kicked me out. So I started living on my own. I thought the only way out, at 15, 16, was to sell narcotics. So I sold drugs, and then later I got a pretty nasty heroin addiction at the
I was
age.
gonna say, were you just doing straight weed or were you doing like opioids and stuff too?
Yeah, at that time I was only smoking weed. I used to like hate people that use drugs, and then I started selling them, and then like months later, I started doing them for the first time.
Wow.
And I think a lot of that. I don't think people are drug addicts, because it's like an inner thing. It's like I don't even know how to
Is it
describe.
more of a suppression? Like you're doing it to, I mean, I imagine I've never, I'll be honest, I'm that guy. I've never smoked weed. I've never been drunk, anything like that. But I imagine it's one of those things where you're doing it to whether it's suppressing emotions or dealing with what's going on. It's not just like, yo, I want to go get high. It's more like I want to get high because it gives me a mental release or allows me to have a kind of an escapism almost mentality.
Yeah, I mean, now it's like looking back, it's like I wanted to fit in. I wanted to suppress a lot of problems. And when you do drugs and alcohol at such a young age, it eliminates that stuff instantly. Like your problems, you don't think about them. You think these drugs are helping you. In Ohio, we have a pretty bad opiate crisis where people are dying. I know, like,
Wow.
70,000 people, they just banned the vape things, but 70,000 people just died from opiate addiction last year.
That's
And
crazy.
and a lot of, not all, but a lot of it comes from, you break your elbow or something, and then before you know it, it's like you got a full blown heroin addiction. It's not like people are committing crimes, but it's like we live in a society that the stigma is so bad with mental health and addiction. Like
Yeah.
people are rooting for it, but they don't really want you to they don't want it to be you or your loved ones, you know?
Sure. All right. So you end up getting kicked out, and you're on the streets, and you're obviously on the street. You're trying to survive, and so you end up dealing. So
Yep.
what's the process that you get busted, and I know you end up in prison,
Mhm.
and then how do you kind of go from I'm dealing to getting busted? Now let me finally make that mental decision to make an adjustment, and like I got to fix all this crap.
Yeah, I think, yeah, so I remember being incarcerated, and you know, everybody finds God when you're incarcerated, and you know, everybody does. But there was one thing that, like, I was angry at God. I was like, man, if you love me, why would I be in this situation? Like, if you really
Right.
knew my story. And I started to think, like, you know what, instead of thinking what life happened to me, I looked what happened for me. So I didn't have my GED. I had a sixth grade reading level, because they test you when you get into the system.
Yeah.
And I just became like an avid learner, man. I was like, man, like, my first thought was like, I can truly change uh, the system. Like, I could see it. Like, now I know the words and stuff, but back then I was thinking, like, you know how, like, people have online coaching programs. It's like, man, I could
Sure.
create like a movement to instill hope into people. And, you know, people can't get jobs, and people can't get back
Right.
to their families. And there's literally laws set in place for people that they can't come back. You know, I was just 18 years old in a month with a felony conviction. And it's like that, like, like my gun rights were stripped away before I was even like able to buy a gun. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
that you can't vote. So it's like, I never,
Now,
oh,
what's that do mentally? Like, because I think this is something a lot of people don't realize. Like, oh, well, you screwed up. You're a felon. So, you know what? Whatever. It is what it is. If you lose your gun rights or you lose your voting rights. But, like, I've never asked this question of anybody that's come on here, but what does that do to you mentally? Does it mess with you and make you feel like you're a lesser citizen, you're a lesser human or whatever?
yeah, I mean, like, literally your civil rights, you know what I mean, are like stripped from you just from, I mean, you got to think, I got caught with $120 worth of drugs in the state of Ohio, and it stripped my rights for the rest of my life. You know, like, at one point,
That's crazy.
I couldn't leave my county. I had to check in. I had to be drug tested twice a week. I had to see a PO that could take your freedom away for being 5 to 10 minutes late. It's like the most craziest thing I've ever been to. I've been incarcerated way before that, but it's like I was just starting off as an adult. And my thing, and I live in Toledo, Ohio, where people like love factory jobs. So in my
Yeah.
mind, I'm just praying to God, like, okay, maybe I can get a GD and get in a factory and make $12 an hour. That's all I was thinking. So it really stripped me of thinking about growth. Like, it really puts you in a mindset
Mhm.
where, like, life's over. Like, and nobody's inspiring you. People just make up a bunch of lies. Like, you can't vote, you can't go to college, you can't own a
Right.
home, you can't get a passport. And you start internalizing that and think, well, I'm screwed. I can't do nothing. Might as well listen to them, you know?
Right. It starts to hit home. Yeah. No, I get that. All right. So, what's the process look like? Because I mean, like, not to give away all the ending here, but I mean, dude, you got your degree, you got your master's, I know, in 2016. I mean, so you went from this sixth grade reading level to, like, you know what, almost like, let me show you this is what I can actually do when I put my mind to it.
Yeah, like, for me, everything I do, I mean, there's rewards obviously for success, but in my mind, it's like, if I show weakness, the other people in the neighborhood, the other people coming out of jails, other people struggling with addiction, the kids that maybe want to commit suicide, like, I take on this thing, like, if I fail, what's that do for them? So, you know, for me at that time, I thought going to college meant like you're going to become super successful and people would just hand you jobs. And, like, I didn't know, I'm the first male, you know, so I had some mentors. So
Yeah.
literally getting out in Ohio, you have to take like an ACT and these OGTs. I had none of that in high school, and I just showed up at the college like, I'm about to become like a counselor for people, you know, that's been through this situation. Like, well, you can't get into school, and I was like, well, somewhere, you know. Back then, I didn't listen to the rules, so why
Right.
listen to them now? You know, so everybody told me. I had a PO that told me I'd never be able to own a social worker. Now, you know, I own my own stuff. I hire social, you know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
it's way different now, you know. But for me, it's like I still had that rebelliousness, or if that's the right word, in me, to where that wouldn't stop me. So, you know, from there, I went to a program I did. It was called Humadot, and a lady was teaching
Okay.
me. And I seen some people with criminal past for the first time. They're like doing something with their life. All the people
Yeah.
in my family or in the neighbor that had criminal records, like, they never got jobs. They still did drugs. maybe committed suicide, maybe had life sentences. So it's like, to me, I didn't see anything positive. I used to
Well,
think,
like the first time you saw that other person that had the criminal record and you see them doing something, I mean, what's that trigger inside you? Because that's kind of the representation that you are now to other people.
yeah, I mean, it's like, if you have a person who's been through some stuff and they jump into a hole, right? And everybody comes, the psychiatrist, the doctors, professionals screaming at you in this hole, like, get out, you can do it. You don't really believe it. But somebody like me can jump in that hole with you and teach you how to get out, So
Right.
it's not like, I have advantage in that way. So the first time I seen somebody doing something successful, I was like, at first I thought it was like a scam. I was like, nah, it challenges all the core belief systems that you have that
Yeah.
society tells you can't do it. So at first your ego is like, no, but it's only challenging because you don't see that stuff. So I kept seeing more and more and more. And then I started seeking these people out, interviewing them, like, how are they doing? Like, and I just
How are
replicate.
you going? How did you get from where I am to where you are now?
Yeah. And like, to me, it didn't make sense. I had 20 cents, I was on high risk uh, probation. It's like I had so many stipulations and so many people telling me no. There was a lot of people that told me yes, so it's like, I don't know. It's like we have a society that teaches you how to be average. If you're
Yeah.
below average, we'll help you. If you're way up there, you're crazy. You're insane.
You're way up top. We got to pull you back down so you can help, come back down here a little bit.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. When you're in a jail or treatment center, they'll come in and say only one of you will make it out of a room of 100.
Like, to
Why?
me, that's the most bizarre thing. And like, why would you say that to people?
Yeah, because now I'm like, screw it. I'm already screwed. So what I would always say is, you guys can all be that 1%. Who came up with this crap? They didn't survey me. You know what I mean?
Right.
We didn't do that stuff. So it's like, I'm always pushing. I think a lot of people just need a little push. There's a lot of stuff I've done. Like, my first jobs were like substance abuse. Then I had some multi-million-dollar grants I was a part of to help people get employment. Like
Awesome.
jobs making. I think we placed, I'm pretty sure me and one of my partners placed about 1,500 convicted felons making over
Awesome.
$14 an hour. And you got to think that stuff changes the community, the lower
It changes the community, but it changes their lives too.
forever.
And it's not just like, and this is the thing a lot of people forget. They think, oh, well, it's just one person, but it's
Right.
not, because they come back in society. And some of these people, just from the dynamic of, if you're on the streets, it's a rough life. And,
Sure.
I mean, you've lived, how everything plays out. A lot of times there's kids involved. There's their parents, there's siblings involved. I mean, to get that one person and place them and get them a job or change their life and pull them out of that hole, if you will, like you said, like that changes more than just their life.
I know, and I think so many people, and it doesn't have to be like you've been on drugs. It's that first hump. So it's like working out, for example. Like, you cannot get motivated to work out. You have to work out to get motivated. Then you start seeing results. That's how you cure it. So some people don't want to take that first initiative, like, because you can't see success. It's like you can see everything else, and then you got so many people who failed in their life telling you what to do. Like not too long ago,
they've got it all figured out, but their life's all screwed up. Right.
Yeah, like, be very careful who you take advice from. I was listening to a man, no offense to this guy, but he's been through 4 divorces, cheats on all his spouses, and he was giving me like wedding or marriage advice. And I'm thinking, like, no, I'm not listening to anything you're saying.
You're like, really, bro? Really?
Divorce, not foster some stuff. So be very careful who you listen to.
Okay, so you're out and you're starting your own business, like you had the placement business. So how do you get now to where, I mean, now you're speaking on stages, you've got the documentary you're involved in, you've got a couple successful businesses. Like, what are the kind of changes and the shifts that you've got to go through mentally? Like, what were the big hurdles of, was it self-doubt? Was it like, yo, I'm gonna screw this up somehow?
I think, for me, I was motivated. I was so motivated. I just didn't have the skill set or the knowledge. Like, and again, there's so many people on the internet teaching you stuff like they've never done. Unfortunately, it gets a bad for people. But I started going to like seminars. So I had a mentor, Dr. Celia Williamson. I know you mentioned you just had a guest on human trafficking. This lady's been, on a federal level, actually on an international level, helping millions and millions of people escape human trafficking, slavery. And she always pushed me, to keep going. And I would be doing good. I get a job making 14 an hour, and I'd buy like a $400 watch. And she would yell at me like, "Rich dad, poor dad." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
You're like, I haven't read that book. I don't even know that's a book yet.
Yeah, she kept yelling at me, and I'm like, "Dude, I'm doing good. I got a watch. I'm famous. I'm making money." And I never read a book before, and I bought an audio book. I didn't know they had these things on audio. Like through my
Greatest
whole
invention ever.
Yeah, I've never read a book in college. Never read a text. Didn't even buy them. Show up, and I'm listening to the book as I drive. I went to a school in Ann Arbor, University of Michigan, and I'm
I'll forgive you for that. It's okay.
What's that? I'm still a Buckeyes fan though. For the
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. There's a little awkward there, but we good then. I mean, I got Brutus over here in the corner. I don't want to have to get all crazy now.
see how strong the belief system is, man.
It's there, man. Sorry, go ahead.
I read the book, and I was like, man, it kind of makes sense. Like the mindset has to switch, and the school system tells you not to own your own. Like when you tell your friends you're going to start a business, most of them laugh and tell you how much they failed. And then it goes back to my whole life that people told me I couldn't make it. Sometimes this is my worst downfall because I burst out with anger, or, I just get angry. Like there's a mission. I got a mission. I'm trying to push kids through school, So I spoke.
Well, you've seen the value though of that one, having the one person in the corner,
Yeah.
of having just even if it's just one person, having a champion in your corner, having someone be like, no, you can do this.
Yeah.
Like you bought a $400 watch. Okay, that's a stupid decision. But this is how you fix it. Let me help you. Let me not just say you're an idiot. You're going to screw up. You're going to fail. Let me help you through this. I've been there. Let me bring you through the process and help you learn.
Yeah. And I mean, that's so important. Like I would, just example this week, my doctor told me how to do yoga. I was like, I'm not going to do yoga. I'm just going to watch it on YouTube. Right. I watch it on YouTube. I do 10 minutes and I quit 8 minutes out. But when I go to the yoga class, I do the whole hour and I get the full experience,
Right.
Just like personal trainers or mindset coach. I have coaches in all areas of my life, business, personal spirituality. I got marriage coaches, like I'm real big on that, see, I'm in the field of that. So that's how I got into speaking. Cause I remember, I didn't think, again, going back to that mindset, I thought only government people, rich people, famous people could get paid to speak. And at that time, I was getting asked in my community so many times, it was taken away from my kids. So I said, hey, I just Googled, like, how do you get paid? I didn't know how to set up a business account, an LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp, whatever. I didn't know you had to get, bank accounts, So I started charging people like $500,000, $2,000, $3,500, $5,000, $10,000 to speak. And it really happened. And I think this was 2016 is when I launched my book. Around that time, I posted something on my wall. One, I had the house that I wanted to live in, which I live in now. And then two, I wanted to get 10 paid speaking gigs. I had no idea how to do them, but I knew I did them. And then I was flying all over, from California to South Dakota, North Dakota.
That's Florida. Cool.
Yeah. And I started doing it, and for me, it's like, I didn't want to watch what the other speakers are doing. Then I seen the guy, I'm sure Eric Thomas, the speaker.
Oh, yeah.
I heard his story from being Detroit not too far from where I'm at. And I'm like, wow, this guy can do it. And he's not in a suit. And he's in some Jordans and stuff.
Right. So, he's wearing a pair of J's, jeans. He's got a hat on sideways with a T-shirt. And you're like, yo, like I can relate to this dude.
Yeah. You don't see people, like that. It's just what you see. So I saw him and a friend took a picture with him. I didn't know he lived 2 hours away, So I go see him. I'm like, wow, how are you doing this? And he gave me some advice and he gave me a book. And
okay, so here's the question, because a lot of people miss this point. You said you went to see him. You didn't know him.
Oh, instantly. Yep.
Now, how did you connect with him? Did you just fall up, like drive up there and like I'm gonna follow around like his office or something and meet him?
Yeah, I mean, I've my whole life like been like that. Like, there's somebody I want to be. I'm gonna chase them down. Now, sometimes you got to pay people, but for him, he was teaching college students, like coaching them every month or something. You can see him speaking. So my friend's like, he's in Lansing, Michigan. I'm like Lansing? Remind you, all my friends are like, man, I want to see ET. I want to see ET. I said, bet tomorrow we're going, because it happened to be the next day. I was like a Tuesday. And we just drive.
Mhm.
I just drive and I go meet him, shake his hand, tell him my story, and to see how I could add value to other people. Now we never worked together, continue working, nothing like that, no fairy tale stuff.
Right,
But
but see, that's the point that everybody misses, and I think
yeah,
that's huge what you did. You were just like, "Dude, I wanna meet this guy. I'm going to go." It wasn't like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna have to get a formal introduction. I'm gonna do this and that."
yeah.
Like, it in you that, like, this dude is like me.
Mhm.
He's a little bit ahead of where I wanna be. I'm
Yeah,
going to meet him. It's that hunger. It's that, it reminds you, I mean, Steve Larson
yeah,
from working with Russell. Like,
yeah,
everybody thinks, oh, well, Steve spent 4 years working with Russell. Everybody don't realize Steve slept in he slept in the ballroom his very first funnel hacking live because he didn't
yeah,
have enough money for a hotel room.
yeah. That's I don't know if you know my other friend, Ernest Epps. Ernest Epps is one of my friends.
Yeah,
We've done masterminds together and stuff.
and Ernst's a big ecom guy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even know what the heck them guys do, but I know the marketing side things. I get the concepts, but again, staying in my lane. That's not something
You
I
do what you do, right?
yeah. So me and Ernest do a group, and he was telling me, like, 3 years ago he slept in his car to go to his first seminar. And man, I used to do the same thing. I would take out loans or sell stuff like just for my first book. It's
Right.
like, how do you write a book? I would go on YouTube. I hired some coaches later on, but in the beginning, I would just get on social media. I was new, and I would sell T-shirts, and I would stack that money and boom, buy the cover, boom, buy the books, boom, I
Yeah.
would pre-sell. So now it's like next time I launch a book, I know exactly what to do, how to make money. We took it from nothing to like $75,000 in the launch.
Nice.
That was from the hustling mentality. So just like you mentioned, Trent, we gotta chase somebody, and we gotta have the mentality to do whatever, because everybody wants to do something, right? It's
Everybody has some lofty goal that they want to. No, but
yeah,
none of us want to just sit here and be like, I'm just going to be stagnant and just do nothing with the rest of my life. None of us are like that. The people who say they're like that are the ones who are afraid of failing.
yeah. Like my friend just called me. He's like, Jake, I've seen you fail so many times, and I share them on social media. I've lost money. I've screwed up. I've screwed
We've
up.
all done that.
Yeah, I haven't been emotional. I let I document that type of stuff because my whole thing is I want to show the internet like you're human. Like all them dudes on the
100%.
internet that sell you like a course on how to, I don't know, make money on a beach. Like that's not real, man. I would be miserable drinking pina coladas on a beach all day. Like I'm just so passionate mission. Like that's just not me. So
Right.
from that standpoint, you got to do whatever it takes. So I was big on LinkedIn. I would connect with anybody. I mean, I don't care if I have to meet with the mayors, the governors, uh,
Yeah.
to get what I needed. I've learned that quick. And that comes back from when I was, doing criminal stuff. You always had to find the best connection, and then you had to live on instincts. You either go to prison or die if you don't know your instincts. So I had to switch. I was always a kid in school that got in trouble for talking. I was always a kid in school that got.
I feel you there.
Look at it now, man. We speaking and stuff. So then, people make fun of me all the time. Like, well, you speak, you're not proper. And I'm like, last time I checked, I'm the only one getting paid to speak here in this house.
Well, that's like my wife gives me a hard time. I'll be 39 next week, right? And my wife is like, she's like, you act younger than our like 15-year-old friends. I'm like, what are you gonna do? That's how I roll. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just really staying authentic. People, like, if people don't like me for me, they're gonna hate regardless.
Kick rocks.
You could be Martin Luther King or you could be Hitler or something. They still gonna hate you. So
Yeah.
keep going. So I got into speaking. I'll give you some gems right here, for your
Yeah.
audience. This is how you could book. I got a video on my YouTube channel. I think I just put out, or it's coming out. I can't remember now.
Okay.
How to book your first $1,000. This is how you cheap. Don't go get the website. Don't go get the $10,000 logo. Don't do all that stuff.
Real quick before we forget, what's your
Yep.
YouTube channel?
Yeah. You say, what is it? Is this
Well,
Jake
yeah.
Spellis? JACOB SPELLIS. Make sure you subscribe. I appreciate that, Trent. And
Awesome. Now y'all can go and hear this video he's telling us about. So go ahead and finish.
yeah. And yeah, so the thing is that you want to figure out your niche, right? Who you want to speak to. Don't be a young kid trying to do sales training. Don't try to be Grant Cardone when you haven't even sold nothing.
And don't be a 22-year-old life coach, guys.
Yeah, it's crazy because at 22, I didn't even think I went through a lot of stuff.
I'm 39. I barely know what the heck I'm doing half the time. You can't just be like a 20-year-old life coach and say I'm a life and business. You haven't done enough to be a life and business coach yet. You may know it, but you need to go out and prove it first.
Yeah, you don't even. Yeah, most ask them sales coach. I'm real big. How much did you make last month? 1,500. Nothing offensive, but like somebody messaged me last week. I always get these messages every day, and I appreciate the pitches. But he came out like, hey, if you make less than $4,000 a month, I was like, dude, you should have done your homework out. Like $4,000 a month, not being cocky or something, but
right. You're like, bro, like that's a downgrade for me.
Yeah,
yeah, I feel
that's assaulting when you go to another person. I appreciate it. I always try to help people. Like, hey, your pitch should have said this. You should have said this. I've been there. So I understand.
Right.
But don't chase the money. Have an impact on people. Like I don't have a course. I don't have. I've done stuff like that, but like to me, I don't know. Like I feel like I got to be doing millions a month before I would think about like coaching.
Well, it's interesting you say that. I mean, I can only speak from like my personal perspective. I mean, we observe a lot, and you can always make observations and stuff. But like I've run an agency since 2008.
Yep. And
I'm looking at it going, all right, it's cool. It pays the bills. It's, the money's there. But I'm like my wife can tell you, that's why I started this back in February. It's like I'm trying to figure out, all right, how can I do something more than just an agency?
Yeah.
Because a simple agency work, like it doesn't do anything for me. I don't find myself just making money doesn't mean that I find myself fulfilled. I don't find myself feeling like I'm doing something that adds value to society just because I'm making money and making other people money. Right. You know what I mean? Like I want to be able to, there's that mentality. And so I'm going through a very similar process like you're talking about, trying to figure out how you're going to give value and how you're going to be able to shift yourself into actually doing something that, for lack of a better way to say it, is a greater good.
Yeah. So, going back, so say you want to speak, right? So I'm gonna give you the game. I'm not going to charge you guys $9.97 to teach, all this stuff. What I'm gonna tell you, first thing you gotta do, I mean, just make a video. So any school will take free speakers. So find the superintendent. They always got an assistant. Email the assistant. If you guys reach out to me on social media, I'll send you some templates that I used a couple years back. You reach out to them, say, hey, I'm very interested. I can speak on these issues. Don't try to be a know-it-all. Don't try to be a genius in all of it. And then create a video. Pay a local person in your community $50, $25. Film the video. Get it edited on Fiverr. I know you're familiar with Fiverr.
You're talking about make a video of you speaking and one of the free things you do.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And then when you speak, I'm going to teach you, this is how you speak. Stories sell, right? This is how in the marketing world, you got a brand and stuff, right? Come up with 3 amazing quotes. This I always break the speech down. When I get paid to speak, now if I'm just doing some stuff, 3 amazing quotes that guide the whole story. And when you go into the room, you want to change one person's life, not everybody. One person's life, and pour everything into it. So make a highlight clip, 3 to 5 minutes. Then go to Thumbtack. Thumbtack is like a lead thing. You can land. This is beginner stuff. People are looking for teachers. They're looking for stuff. Go on Thumbtack, and if you don't have no money, right? I'm not downing other business. Just Google the person's name that's looking. Email them personally, right? You can use Hunter.io email addresses. Figure that out. I'm not going to tell you everything. Just YouTube.
Be a little bit resourceful. It may take a little bit of time, some effort, but if you want it, you can be resourceful and find what you need.
Yeah, I would say for every 100 you apply for, 15 would email you back. 2 you can get on the phone call. 1 you would close. Like I'm not going to tell you all these people. I got a 99% closing rate. Yeah, because you're only talking to one person. You know what I mean? You're not talking to hundreds. Come on, if you had 99, you would be Jordan Belfort. You'd be the Wolf of Wall Street, man. So go to Fiverr. $5. Don't pay it. Not yet. $5 get you a speaking sheet, right? Take the pictures and everything from there, and that's how you go. There's thousands of conferences each week. Again, don't apply to speak at the Growth Con or something like that, or something big. Start off small, because just like big comedians, I always hear Kevin Hart, like, if I would have spoke at this level, you're not even ready for that. Like you don't know how to speak for an hour. You might get nervous, Like,
you don't want that hour long, that keynote speech when you just starting speaking, because you don't know what you're doing.
Nope. And it's a disservice to the people that are paying you and the audience
Yes.
that came. And like the time will come when you put the work in, right? I'm not a big believer. You don't have to be putting out content all the time. You don't have to be doing all that. Learn how to get the gigs, then reinvest that money into content. A video guy, I got a video guy.
Yeah.
We shoot content every week. He'll come catch me at the office and boom, shoot some stuff, and then tailor it to your audience. Try to niche down just a little bit.
Nice.
That's how you get the speaking gig. And then there's like Speakers Hub and find the conferences, take a thank you note. I'll tell you some other stuff I did. This is like a $4,200 speaking gig I got. I wrote a thank you card. Then I sent them a pair of shoes and stated that I had one foot in the door. Can I get the other one? And it was a homeless, I don't know. It was like a summit on homelessness or something, but I got it. So be really creative, go above and beyond. These people hiring, man, they're going to hire.
Be memorable, because then you get invited back and they'll share you with someone else. Because a lot of these people who know, and they're the ones hiring for speaking gigs, they know the other people at other events. They're connected, and yeah.
And then it just went and went and went and went and went. And then two, also know your value. I see so many speakers, they're like, they charge $99 to speak. I'm like, where did you come up with that price? Well, I just want to get my feet. I said, look, if you went to Louis Vuitton and their belt was $2, you would think it's stolen. Quit treating yourself like that, man. People got it in the budget. People are getting paid $200,000 to speak. So somewhere in the world, there's a speaking gig for me. But like you mentioned, Trent, people aren't persistent. They're not doing whatever it takes, and I'm a big firm believer, man. You got to do whatever it takes. If if there's some influenced people that, I don't know, said, come meet me in California tomorrow, I would figure a way to get the plane and move my schedule around. That's just how I operate.
Right. You'll make it happen. If the opportunity is right and it fits what you need, you'll make it happen.
No matter what. Yep.
I agree. Awesome, man. Well, this has been good, dude. Real quick, I wanted you to share a little bit about the documentary you got coming out.
Yeah. So again, this is, going into personal branding, all the work I did in the community. I was in multiple documentaries, and news started picking up on the story. We launched the book, everything, all the programs and nonprofits.
What's the name of the book, by the way? We didn't cover that.
The book's called More Than a Statistic, Stop Being Average. You can just go on Amazon if you feel likely. If you feel like you want to. And then the movie, there's two movies we're in, one for high schoolers, one for the documentary. You can go to thedocumentary.com, check it out.
Okay.
Awesome movie. We were just in Burbank, Hollywood, California, and we won the awareness award for the whole film. It's going to be powerful. It's going to be coming out here soon. I've been kind of keeping it a secret for a couple of years because I'm just like that dude. Keep your head down, grind it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, man, I didn't know you were doing all that stuff. Like, I've been doing this stuff for years. There's no clout.
Like all of a sudden they see it all come out. Like, man, that's what he's been up to. He hasn't been sharing nothing, but he's been busy.
Yeah. I mean, everybody that knew me in the past, they're like, hey, he's just in jail. They didn't know I got the degrees. They didn't know I had a business. I didn't have social media. Like, I was just so focused on helping other people that, like, that stuff didn't matter. I'm not a real big ego. I'm the CEO. I make $30,000 a month. I make 40. That's not my thing. It's helping people.
Yeah. And the thing is this, I hear people talk about, and again, I mentioned Gary before to you, and I'll mention again, like Gary talks about, if you're 51% altruistic in what you're doing, the money will come.
That's right. That's right.
That doesn't mean that, you can be, people realize 51% means you're 49% about making money.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just slightly more important about doing the right thing and impacting people, the money will come.
Yeah. I mean, look at Apple, I mean, they in a competitive niche, but people fall in love with their brand, they why. For me, I get speaking gigs just because of my story. I get big consulting gigs just because of my story. You know what I mean? So it's like when your heart's in the right place, it happens. But also, keep on grinding too. People think like I'm following.
Don't just sit and wait.
Yeah. And you gotta know how to monetize. I know Gary Vee is not a big person at monetizing, but
this is true. But he's also got an agency now that generates $150-200 million behind him in VaynerMedia. So he doesn't particularly have to monetize his content. And in fairness, to talk about what you're saying, dude gets paid $100-150 a speaking gig.
Yeah, so he does monetize. He has the deep dives that are $17,000 to
absolutely.
He has books. So I don't knock anybody that monetizes as long as you're helping people. I'm in the business of substance abuse treatment. I'm in the business of mental health treatment. I'm in the business of grants, fundraising, really impact driven stuff. I do live events myself. We charge high amount of tickets, because when people pay, they pay attention. I'm not here
This
to,
is true.
I'm not here to motivate you. I'm here to get you to the next level,
Right.
and what you put your focus on, then the energy comes, So I'm a big believer in that.
Awesome. Well, cool, man. I don't want to take too much of your time. Where do people follow you? How do they track down your content and on social media, etc.?
Yeah, I'm building out the YouTube. I got a big. I'm putting out a lot of content on YouTube. I would say follow me on YouTube, and then I have the Facebook page, the Instagram, the
Both at
TikTok.
just Jacob Spellis.
Yep.
Okay,
Spellis. Yep. Come check me out.
awesome. Like spelling, but spell is.
Yeah. Yep.
Ah, see, like I'm a nerd. I know. Awesome, brother, man. All right, any golden nugget you want to leave us with? Anything comes to mind specifically?
Yeah. Let's see.
And I know you didn't plan it right off the
No,
cuff, so
I got one. Everything you say is how you say it and how you identify with yourself, man. Again, I'm a convicted felon, ex-drug addict. Uh, how do you identify? It's not where you're coming from; it's where you're going. And keep on moving, man. Hardships happen to everybody, but it's how you react. That's all I got to say. I don't got no crazy business tip or teach you how to get $10,000 a month.
perspective.
But, that's just where I'm at in my life right now.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. Jacob, thanks for being here, man. Guys, as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to keep stopping by. Go check out Jacob, follow him, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you so much, Trent. I appreciate it.
Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed and got a lot of value in this video. If you did, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below. I'm going to be answering all the comments myself. And also, come find me on your favorite social media platform and tell me what else I can help you with.